Recent events have highlighted various social issues affecting First Nations communities across Australia and Canada. An incident in North Queensland saw an 11-year-old boy racially profiled at a petrol station, prompting a sister to advocate for him, which received widespread support online. As winter approaches, health organisations are urging Indigenous communities to get vaccinated against the flu, emphasising preventative measures to protect vulnerable populations. In Canada, Indigenous advocates are pressing political candidates to ensure investigations into unmarked graves related to residential schools continue while funding cuts threaten that progress. Additionally, the remote Northern Territory community near the Queensland border is set to receive significant funding to improve food security through upgrades to local stores. Meanwhile, Sisters Amber and Lily Hayward are addressing the issues of missing and murdered Indigenous women at the UN Forum, advocating for systemic change. Lastly, the Bundanon Art Museum is set to host the Make Good Festival, emphasising innovation and cultural understanding, while Agriculture Victoria has introduced a grant program to support Aboriginal traditional knowledge. More of that later. Kaya, I'm Leanne Djilandi Dolby, and this is the National Indigenous Times Daily News Bulletin for the 22nd of April 2025. An 11-year-old boy in North Queensland was reportedly reduced to tears after being racially profiled by a petrol station attendant at an Ampol service station in Cairns. The incident was brought to light by his sister. Sariella confronted the attendant for alleged racially profiling her younger brother while he was shopping alone inside the store, where she stood up for her brother, saying, "You don't treat people like that just because there's not an adult here. There's one standing right out here." Despite the attendant's claim that his comments weren't meant to be offensive, he justified his behaviour by referencing past incidents of theft involving other children. The incident has sparked criticism, with many praising Sari for defending her brother and condemning the attendant's behaviour. With winter approaching, First Nations communities are strongly encouraged to get their flu vaccinations to protect themselves from serious respiratory illnesses. Lung Foundation Australia is urging people of all ages to take proactive steps, including getting vaccinated, maintaining hand hygiene, and staying home when unwell. The flu shot along with pneumococcal vaccine for eligible individuals is vital in preventing complications like pneumonia, especially among elders and those with chronic conditions. Health professionals are emphasising community-wide protection to keep everyone safe during the flu season. Indigenous residential school survivors and advocates in Canada are calling on all federal election candidates to commit to supporting investigations into unmarked graves and missing children associated with the residential school system. Despite earlier government commitments, recent funding cuts have hampered progress, including the resignation of an expert committee. Survivors and leaders from affected First Nations emphasise the urgent need for continued support and full funding to uncover the truth and honour the lost children. While most political parties back the investigations, the People's Party of Canada has refused support. There are growing concerns that halting these efforts could fuel denialism and hinder reconciliation. We're talking about the truth of history in this country, and a history that can't be talked about without using the word legacy when it comes to Indigenous people, told Laura Arndt, one of Canada's leading First Nations activists. The remote Northern Territory community, that is 17 kilometres away from the Queensland border, is set to benefit from a $915,000 upgrade to its local store under the federal government's Food Security Initiative. This investment from the Albanese government is imperative to be able to secure and increase food supplies during these times. Marion Scrimgower, current Member of Parliament for the federal seat of Lingyari, stated, "The funding will expand refrigeration and food storage in the NT, helping to ensure consistent access to food during the wet season when the town is often cut off by floods. This upgrade is a part of a broader $9.6 million store efficiency and resilience package aimed at improving food security in remote First Nations communities. The initiative includes funding for multiple stores across Australia and is tied to the government's 10-year national strategy plan to address food insecurity and support Indigenous health and well-being." Sisters Amber and Lily Hayward, two Noongar women, are attending the 24th United Nations Permanent Forum on Indigenous Issues in New York to advocate for missing and murdered Indigenous women and children. Motivated by the unsolved disappearance of their aunt Rebecca Hayward in 2017, the sisters are using this international platform to spotlight the systemic failures in Australia's police and media responses and to push for a greater accountability and action. Lily said, "We want to raise our voices and make sure people understand that this is not an Indigenous problem. It's a societal issue that affects everyone." Their journey is supported by Aboriginal Family Law Services and is a part of a broader effort to advance Indigenous rights globally, especially through highlighting the impact of systemic racism and the need for institutional change. Agriculture Victoria has launched the Garanga Jimbayang Grant Program to embed Aboriginal traditional knowledge and practices into formal agricultural education. Named by Jar Jar Warang words meaning to grow and learn, the initiative supports partnerships between registered Aboriginal parties and Victorian TAFEs. By embedding traditional knowledge into accredited training and bush food production, we're creating meaningful pathways for communities while ensuring Gunai Kurnai practices are recognised, respected and protected. Shari Smith, acting CEO of Gunai Kurnai Land and Waters Aboriginal Corporation, said as she reflected on the grant, projects include the integration of Indigenous knowledge into bush medicine production, sustainable farming and conservation training. The initiative aims to enhance cultural safety in agricultural education and provide meaningful career pathways for First Nations students. That's today's Daily News Roundup from the National Indigenous Times. For more news, head to nit.com.au and sign up for our free newsletter.